Louisville real estate broker coming to you live from the offices of Amped Realty, and I appreciate you stopping by my blog. With that being said, we are going to jump into today's blog topic. blog topic, and again, I've got JC helping me out, keep me on track here, and we're going to talk a little bit about new construction versus pre-existing homes. And I think, JC, you had a couple of questions with regards to that.
Yeah, so basically, if you're a first-time home buyer, and you're trying to decide between the two, I guess, what's the difference between building a home or buying a pre-existing home?
Well, and that's you hit on a key point here when you talk about first-time home buyer. So, as a first-time home buyer, there's a lot that you have to contend with when it comes down to buying a home, and there's so many things that you've got to keep juggling with regards to items. Now, if you're looking specifically at a new construction versus a pre-existing structure, such as a house that's already been lived in, one of the things that you've got to remember is you're going to be limited on your location. Okay, most new construction builds are going to be in areas where there is new construction going on, new subdivisions going up, new areas of town being developed. So if that's something that you're not necessarily interested in, make sure you understand all of that with regards to the locations and the options that you'll have as far as where you can expect to live. Now, the next thing that you seriously want to consider as a first-time home buyer, again, is a lot of first-time home buyers have time frames, and their time frames have to deal with those things such as leases expiring. And a lot of clients that I've dealt with, they contact me. Sometimes it's a little bit too late. Sometimes we're right on the cusp. But hey, I got to be out of my apartment in 2 months. I got to be out of my apartment in 30 days. My lease is up, or they're going to charge me an astronomical fee to go month to month, or they're going to kick me out. So understand this: if you're going with a new construction and you're digging a hole in the dirt, well, sometimes Mother Nature isn't always kind to your time frame. And with delays, if usually what I found, tack on about 2 months for a new construction from the time it usually says it's going to be completion, because there are some changes and things that happen along the way. And you're dealing with the weather, you're dealing with human interaction, and you're dealing with changes in products. Sometimes products have to change, so keep that in mind. The other thing is your expenses. Sometimes when you get into a new construction, it's kind of like, it's buying something brand new, and it's an exciting factor. And I've seen a lot of buyers get themselves into trouble because all of a sudden the product that they were buying from the new builder, for example, had brushed nickel switch plates and covers and faucets, and they decided to go with the brushed bronze. And without knowing it, they just added an additional $2,000 to their bottom line. So again, keep that in mind, that there's things that happen as you go through a new construction. Sometimes you'll feel like you'll want to change things, or you'll be talked out of an original idea. But you've got to be very strict, especially if you're running on a budget. Now, with that being said, you've also got different financing options. So you want to make sure that you understand what your financing options are versus a new construction. And again, we're talking about digging a hole in the ground versus a pre-existing structure that's already been there. So those are kind of the things that you want to make sure that you understand. Remember, when you're getting into new construction versus pre-existing.
Yeah, like just hitting on, I know you hit on the time frame and the location, and you just started to get on the financing side of things. I guess if you are gonna look between the two, what are the cost expectations between the two of new construction or already buying the pre-existing home on the finance side of things? What are the differences there?
Okay, well, as a if you purchase a new construction, for example, you're getting a completely different type of loan. You're getting a construction loan where money has to be put down. There's money up front, and a lot of construction companies, when they're dealing with banks, they go on what are called draws. So, for example, what ends up happening, and let's say the purchase price is $200,000, and they agree that they're going to go so far and they're going to take a draw against that to pay back for the materials and time that they've already got invested in the home. So a lot of times what banks will do is they will give you a construction loan. You have to put down a higher percentage rate, and then they will pay once the contractors get to a certain point, they will pay the contractors money and you start paying on that. And as you start paying on that, you pay on that until you get to the closing table, and then that's refinanced into a traditional mortgage type product. Whereas an FHA, when you go into it, you know what your first payment's going to be, you know what your last payment's going to be, you know what your mortgage and your insurance is going to be, and you know how much you need to bring to the table. So in some types of construction situations, they may not allow particular loans, such as FHA, along with like some of the first-time homebuyer programs that we've had here locally in Louisville, where you can get some grant money, depending on what time of year that you come into it. So you're going to be, a little bit more limited with regards to that. And, now you can do VA mortgages on new construction. You can potentially do an FHA, but those are a little bit trickier. But typically, your new construction loan is going to cost more than a pre-existing loan, especially if you've got a tight budget and you want to make sure that you stay on that budget. Kind of knowing those things are going to help get you to the closing table, so you can protect your finances. So again, just look at the difference on as far as that. Talk to your local lender and find out, hey, if I'm digging a hole in the ground, what's it going to cost me versus buying something that's already there? Because you might be able to save some money simply by, updating the current kitchen or, the paint colors that you really want rather than a new construction altogether.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, if you do decide, if you're truly set on a new construction home, I guess, is there anything like I should look out for specifically, especially if when dealing with the time frame, and maybe even if my funds are kind of limited? Is there anything I should really be looking for in that aspect of things?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, because it's not that new construction is out of the realm for first time home buyers, but again, kind of knowing your limits. I think knowing your limits is going to be the most important thing in there. And really, if you decide that you want to go with a new construction, my recommendation to you, excuse me, my recommendation to you is to look at a structure that is already been partially completed. All right. So maybe you don't have the finishings of the floor. Maybe you don't have the paint in there and you just got the drywall. Maybe you don't even have the kitchen in there, but you've got four walls and you've got a roof and you've got doors. You've got your attached structure or your detached structure, your garage, whatever it is that you want. And going in there and building on the inside out is going to be a lot easier. And you're going to be able to finance those with much more traditional types of financing, right? So for the typical most part, even if the product is already built, is partially built, Mother Nature is not going to discourage people getting inside and finishing up paint or finishing up cabinets. Those are things that can be done on a time frame and can get you to the closing table at your specific and allotted time, and also on budget. So you already know kind of when you go into a situation like that, it's not a, hey, we're going to, kind of look at this, and then if we want changes, we'll make these changes, and it's going to cost this. But really, when you look at it as a first-time home buyer, most of the stuff is already done. Your price has already been negotiated. You know what you're getting. It's all outlined, okay? And then that way, that's all done on the bank side. So you can meet your deadlines with regards to your time frame, especially if you're dealing with a lease. You can meet your requirements for your financing, and you'll kind of understand what you'll be able to do. But also understand this, that most construction, new construction, with regards to financing, those particular prices aren't as negotiable as a property that is pre-existing. Because when a builder factors in the amount of money that it's going to take to get them from a hole in the dirt to a finished product, to be able to sell it, to feed his or her family, and to pay their workers, they pretty much know what that price is. So again, don't think you're going to go into a new construction type situation and start, bidding down. Most of the times it goes in the opposite direction. Whereas again, a pre-existing structure, you might be able to get a little bit of deal, save some money, and then update kind of what you want with regards to fixtures, appliances, paint color. But again, budget and time frame are the two things that, as a first-time home buyer, make sure that you understand what yours are and how to stick to those. So did we cover most of that, JC? Are we pretty square on it?
I think we went in depth with everything that I had today.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, appreciate your time and
Yeah.
got everything covered that I had. So
All right. Well, hey, everybody, remember, if you're looking at a new construction or you're looking at a pre-existing, keep your factors in mind. Your location, you're going to be limited. Look at your time, look at your finances, look at your money, okay? And understand your loan cost. Those are the big things. And, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me directly at area code 502-220-4663 or 220-HOMES if you'd like to remember it. And, remember, don't keep us a secret. We're here to help, and we're always happy for conversation. Have a great day, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.